Hey everybody, and thanks for tuning in to another great episode of ROCKn TOKen, hosted by none other than me, Kelly V, and my epic co-hosts who help me all along the way. We do solo interviews with me, and with group interviews with Steve Lipskudlow of Anvil, of course, and Jackie Chambers of Girl School in Cyteria and Lane Band Cable. We have so many great supporters all over the industry, in film, in comedy, and all things metal that keep it rockin' to help make a difference all through the industry and all around the world to the fans that need it most. We talk about a lot of heartfelt things here at ROCKn TOKen because we care about rare disease and the things that affect human rights all over the world. These are the great people involved. Thank you so much to Lawrence Wallace for this great opening music. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in, like I said, to another episode of ROCKn TOKen with your host, Kelly B. This is a solo interview with me, and I'm gonna kick back and just sit around and chat with none other than the incredible and legendary James Murphy, the guitarist. Here is a credit to him. It's Kelly V, the Potpixi here, and we're soon going to be joined by the very elite, the very talented, and the very incredible James Murphy, the guitarist extraordinaire. He's been on my show a couple times, and I am just completely humbled and honored at his presence across my pages and his support in general. He is in so many incredible bands, it's almost too much to list. I could try before he gets on, but I don't think I would make it because it's an alphabetical list about, oh, I don't know, this long. But I think you are surely going to agree that he is best known for Cancer, Death, Disincarnate, Obituary, Testament, and so many other projects where he is the incredible guitarist behind the songs. And what an extraordinary human being he is. I also want to touch base with him today on something that we both share, which is an incredible medical journey that we'll talk more about. If you've been following him as a personal note across his journey, you might be familiar with this, or this may be something new to you as well. If you're familiar with my work, you know that I do a lot of rare disease activism through music, through the genres, but mostly rock and metal. And I am so very, very honored to have him here. And hopefully he comes on soon for him. Oh, here he comes. Here he comes. Yee. Uh, Hi, how are
Hey,
you?
how's it going, Kelly? How you doing?
Not too bad. It's been quite a while.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
It really has. What's been new with you?
Uh, just finishing some of the renovations on our house,
Oh, goodness. That's
adding
so
new,
stressful.
adding new little family members, little furry family members.
What
You
what
know,
kind? What kind?
we got a new cat,
Ooh, what's his name?
Morpheus.
Morpheus. How did you decide on that one?
Um, well, we have a bunch of girl cats, and
Oh,
four of them, in fact, and their name it's all alliteration. So it's Minya, Mika, Misha, and Mira. And you know, I'm a big fan of the Sandman
mm-hmm.
um, graphic novel series from back in the 80s and 90s.
Okay. So they're
And
all named after that. Wow. It's weird. Every pet I get, I name after metal musicians. Go
well,
figure.
all the names aren't named after characters from that. Just Morpheus. He's the named after the
Wonderful.
main character. Yeah.
Because I'm not familiar. I'm sorry. I'm not as cool as you, man. I don't think I ever
No
could
problem.
be. But so new cat, new projects. Are you working on new music right now?
Yeah, I am working on some new music. It's not something that I really want to talk about just now because I
Okay.
don't want to, I don't want to
Ooh.
get too much speculation going or whatever about timelines or
Oh no,
who
timelines.
will be involved and all that stuff.
I
So
see.
it's not really. That's why it's really weird moment for me to do an interview because I don't have a whole lot new that I can talk about really. You
Do you
know,
know what
I
I really wanted to talk to you on was our shared um experience with having a brain tumor, if it was something you were willing to share with me.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, I can talk about it a bit.
really? Then we have lots to talk about, I'm sure. So, I remember the day that I got told, and it was probably the scariest day of my life, I'm sure. I don't know, what was your process?
For me, I was about. Sorry, my glasses are crooked.
It seems to be
I
bothering you.
I think yeah, I sat on them and now they're all like cockeyed on my face,
Yes,
and
I
now everyone's gonna notice it now that I've said that. Um, but for me, my mind was gone by the time mine was discovered. It was putting so much pressure on my brain, and probably the very first thing I should say is that I didn't technically have a brain tumor.
What did you
Uh,
have?
it was affecting my brain massively. It was putting a lot of pressure on my brain from below. I had a pituitary tumor.
Oh my God, I have a pituitary adenoma as well. So I had one removed in 2006 that was very large. And now that my other conditions are so severe, they can no longer do any surgery on me. So it's just going to regrow. And so it's
Well,
very amazing. We have this similar thing.
I mean, there's medication that keeps them from growing. Or can you not take the medication?
No, I cannot. And of course, Canada and the US, as similar as we are very different with our medical systems. So it's not something that they have given me. Um, but
You
it
should.
takes so long to diagnose and get treatment here.
What? With regard to your pituitary adenoma, um, was it growth hormone secreting or
No, and I'm very
prolactin?
lucky. And
Well,
I
so
re
it was prolactin secreting then.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And it took me into
Then
my 30s to be honest with my doctor on the fact that I overproduced prolactin in my chest. I was very embarrassed about it. It was very small amounts, but as soon as I said that, they did a brain scan and voila, discovered. Now, I am in love with the circus community and the freak community, and in general, just studied it and was fascinated by giants all my life. And the idea that it was just the wrong hormone and I could have been super big,
yeah.
Because I feel,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, the good news in terms of the prolactin thing is that there is a medication that works fantastic. Um, there's one that they'll give you that if you're if they think you're poor, if your insurance isn't good, called the generic is called bromocriptine.
Hmm.
The brand name I believe is Parladel,
Hmm.
and but that one has a lot of effects. That one will knock you out of the box if you have to take too much of it.
Yeah.
Um,
And
but there's another one. The generic is called cabergoline, and the name brand is called Dostinex. And that one, you don't even take it every day. You just take it like two times a week, spread out over the week, and just one pill, and it just takes care of business. And there's virtually no side effect whatsoever, except that it shrinks pituitary adenomas, particularly prolactin secreting ones. So,
yes, yes, yes. It is something that I unfortunately we have very different system here is not covered by my insurance, so I have to go through a, a long ordeal to get medication covered eventually. Um and
well, I think you're going to want to get a hold of cabergoline. That's the generic of it. I know that it's cheaper in Canada than it is in the United States. It used to be prohibitively expensive when it was still just you could only get Dostanex, the name brand.
The name brand. So with the
But it
yes,
got past that. It got past that point. I mean, most medications have a point where
7-year limitation
yeah,
where they
they allow the company, the developing company, to recoup all their development money and make a lot of profit. And then after, I forget how long the period is, but that period has passed on Dostanex a while ago now, and so they have a generic. It's called cabergoline, and it can be had fairly inexpensively, and
and this is a
it would.
crazy thing in our system, anything that is considered rare, which I am rare on rare on rare on rare on rare on rare on rare. I can't even get my migraine medication covered, and it's hundreds of dollars a month. So, I have to either pick and choose sometimes between food and medicine, and it's a very challenging way to live, but it is why I do so much active, try and raise awareness to these problems. Some new drug that comes out in America for a rare disease in Canada, we might not get for 20 years. And
Oh,
there's a program, it's sort of like a trying to involve like a free trade of that. If we develop something here, is America gonna wait 20 years? I don't think so. You know what I mean? And it's not like we invented insulin. So, you know, it's
yeah.
it's um it's a frustrating way to live. But as far as having the adenoma, whether are you secreting the growth hormone then?
Well, mine.
Or were you?
I, no, I think I was. Yeah, I think so. Anyway,
And the most
I'm hazy on the details now. All these years later, I just take the medication and I'm good.
And you're good. And this is the thing that now that they have discovered this, there will be no more giants. There will never be another Andre the Giant, or very few, because they will
Yeah,
be able
yeah.
to catch
Except
it
for
early.
people who just don't have insurance, and so they don't go to the doctor and they just stay home, and there are still people like that. They just deal with whatever happens, and they don't think anything about how big they're getting probably until it's too late.
Hey, there is a very famous case, and she was a woman out of China, and very, very poor. Oh my God, so poor. And her village, she lived in shame. She lived in a small hut on a bed on the floor and barely ever left her dwelling because she was so gigantic and it was such a thing. Then the Guinness Book of World Records comes because she's the tallest woman in the world, and she gains all this popularity and attention, and of course now is famous. But they flew her to America to get treatment, and she unfortunately passed away. It was far too late to get any treatment. What had been done to her body was unbelievable. um, and they flew her home and gave her her first pair of shoes, which were like this and red and beautiful. And she was just so grateful to have shoes. And the thought of it really, is heartwarming, but also just tears you apart, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but it
So
it
I'm
still
sorry, I
have.
didn't mean to interrupt.
No, did it have lasting effects on how you calculate or process or function now?
I mean, yeah, I think so. I mean, certainly, pituitary tumors grow on the pituitary, and they grew upward to where they'll put pressure on your brain, but they also grow outward, which means they're putting pressure on your optic nerve from behind your eyes. And
Mhm.
the and my vision got pretty messed up. I was having real difficulty seeing very well. But after the surgery, my vision improved steadily. And I remember that it hit a point where I thought, okay, well, after surgery and after recovery and everything, I reached a point where I thought my vision was good enough that I should be able to go back and get my driver's license, and so I waited for the ophthalmologist, appointment that I had, and he always did the all the tests on me, like the test where you click the little thing when you see the pinprick of light,
Painful.
and something called an A range or something like that. Something with a big old mechanical apparatus, a big semicircle around your head, basically trying to figure
Yes.
out your what your peripheral vision is, how
Yes.
good your peripheral vision is. Both of those tests do that, and just check your vision. And uh, I, I just kept every time I would go to the ophthalmologist and have these tests done, there might be some marginal improvement in the way the test read, but it wasn't massive improvement. And it was certainly improvement from where I was before surgery, but
Hmm.
I still had problems after the surgery. And but to me, I felt like my vision was improving, and I tried to tell this to the doctor, and he said, no, no, it's just that your brain adapts to what your vision is, and that can lead you to sort of falsely believe that your vision is improving. And it's kind of like improving on one level in that your brain's parsing everything that it's getting in as efficiently as it can. So in a way, you're seeing better. But he said, so I said, well, I mean,
Your brain
how long
is
will it?
cross
So I just asked
wiring.
him,
Yeah.
yeah. So I just asked him, how long will it be before I can get my driver's license again? Renew my driver's license. And he looked at me and just did that and said, no, no, Mr. Murphy, you'll never be able to drive again. Well, as you can see, I'm sitting in my car.
I was just gonna say, you're sitting in your
Yeah,
car. Is this a lawn
yeah,
ornament or is this your
yeah,
driving?
yeah. No, I spoke up right then. I said, "Are you sure? What's the issue?" And he said, "It's your periphery. You won't be able to see things coming at you from the side, like you know, a child or another car or a motorcycle or whatever coming at you from the side." And I said, "I don't know. I see pretty good on the sides. I'm not sure what you." And he goes, "Well, I'll tell you what. Let me show you. Let's just do a little demonstration. And so he came up to me and he just said, just look right at my nose. Don't stray away from my nose. Keep your eyes trained right on my nose. And I'm going to hold out my hand and I'm going to hold up, random number of fingers. And you tell me how much how many fingers I'm holding up." And I was able to do it every single time. And
Mm-hmm.
he just looked at me kind of dumbfounded. And he said, "Well, Mr. Murphy, you know, every once in a while we see this, I guess, somebody that just doesn't test well, but actually their vision has adapted enough that they're actually pretty good, and you seem to be one of those." And I said, "Are you telling me?" And he goes, "Yes, you can go get your driver's
Oh,
license."
that is so happy. You must have been
So
so
I went
happy.
in 5 minutes from "you're never going to drive again" to "yeah, fuck, go get your
I
driver's
mean,
license."
I have so many overlapping things. I had an amniotic embolism, which affected my pituitary. I have Addison's disease from that, which affects your pituitary as well. I have primary autoimmune and narcolepsy. So they will never give me a license. I'm not supposed to ride a bike or go swimming or have a bath or do all sorts of weird things. But they gave me a scooter
Wow.
and I have so much freedom on that. And I turn my music up and ride around the neighborhood. And I just, to not have freedom is so
Well,
hard.
that's good. It's good to be able to have it's good to be able to have a way to get around.
Ah,
It's one thing you learn that you never really, because we're children. As we're children, we grow up, under our parents' wing and under their control, and as we turn into adults, we slowly get used to more and more freedom until we're fully grown adults out on our own and we got all the freedom we want. Um, and then you realize, well, we got responsibilities, kind of that trump your freedom
Adulting.
sometimes. But
Ooh.
You just you get it so gradually that you're not, you get your freedom so gradually as you grow up that you don't really appreciate it so much until it gets taken away. And
Yes.
you know, and
Did you have a very good upbringing, like a healthy, happy home life? You talk about going out slowly into the world. You weren't pushed out at an early age, and like, because I was on my own very young, it's a different, you know.
yeah, well, unfortunately, I was speaking in very general terms
Okay.
about,
All right. All right. All
I
right.
I had a, I'll say this, I always had a roof over my head, always had meals, always had clothes. They weren't anything fancy. They were what, my dad could afford. He was an enlisted man in the U.S. Army, so he wasn't rolling in cash. But we had medical. If we needed to go to the doctor, we went to the doctor. We needed to go to the dentist, we went to the dentist. So so we were taken care of. But beyond that, I wouldn't say that I was that I had a super great. There were awesome things about my childhood.
Mhm.
Like I really enjoyed living in Germany. I lived
Wow.
6 years there, and I, not all in one shot. It was 3 years at a time, two different times, and you know, I, I cherish those memories, and I'm glad, so glad that I did, especially the second time when I was a teenager in high school, and that was a great experience for me. But
Oh,
and I have a real good relationship with my dad these days. But no, I didn't have a super
okay.
awesome upbringing. There were things that I don't necessarily want to go into. I
No,
mean,
you don't have to. I was just
he was a
curious if,
he was a different person then than he is now. I just say that I have a good relationship with my dad, and he's been raising my nephews
ah,
um,
second
that are
chances, grandchildren or
yeah
nephews or whatever really
yeah.
change.
He's been raising his grandchildren. My nephews, and they're just now getting old enough. They're both kind of one of them's completely out on his own, and the other one is you know living on his property, but paying his own bills and everything. And so they're both kind of grown now, but they had a very different childhood than me.
Did they
Than
follow
me.
you into music? Did they get
No,
influenced by
no,
you?
no, not at
What?
all. There's
Wow.
too many years between us, too many, and we weren't directly blood related. They're the offspring of my stepsister, and they're good kids, and but they have their own thing. They have their own lives. They you know they listen to their own music, and
Oh,
neither of them plays music at all.
wow. 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 That's interesting. Sometimes I hear that from metal artists where their children just go in the opposite direction is the only form of rebellion because they have a pretty good life, but they're like, I'm gonna be my own person, not you, right? Or
Yeah,
they're
yeah, and
exactly
I
like
mean,
their
it's not like they were my direct sibling. They weren't my siblings. They weren't my children. They were
but
nephews
still wow,
from
still
a
wow,
stepsister. You know,
still wow. Um um I mean,
I mean, we had completely different upbringings and lives. There's no reason why they would have turned out like me in any way.
do you think it influenced like that time in Germany, your childhood? Do you think it influenced you to
Oh,
be exactly do the music that you made?
it absolutely did. It did massively. It had a huge influence.
And
Massive.
it
I
was
mean,
it
I was there in 82, 83, 84, and into 85. And yeah, part of 82, all of 83, all of 84, and part of 85. And uh I was a teenager. I was like 15, 16, and 17 during those times. And
oh you
I used to, here I am at, going to school in Frankfurt, Germany, and is an open campus, and I flew below the radar of the faculty and my teachers. Well, I flew
oh
below the radar of the faculty because my teachers never reported me because I was acing their classes. I was,
Yeah, it
I
did
did
that
really
too.
well in high school. School was one of those things that just wasn't hard for me.
Me neither.
And part like by design to the extent that I got to choose what I took. I mean, I was smart in a number of ways. I wasn't like a rocket surgeon. I knew that I sucked at things like algebra and calculus and trigonometry and all that stuff. So I looked into the rules of what I could take if there were alternatives that I could take and still get my credits to get out. And it turns out that you could take business math. Well, in business math, the craziest thing you're dealing with is fractions, decimals. You're
Wow.
not, it's all just, like accounting level math,
Mhm.
so, you're doing division, multiplication, addition, subtraction, and you're getting into fractions and decimals, and that's it. And if as long
Wow.
as you got that business, you didn't have to do the scientific math, I called it, and so that's what I did. And but I was really more of good at the English reading and writing side of things, literature, etc. I was really good at
Mhm.
those, and I took advanced placement classes and that stuff, but it was easy for me to, it was all just easy for me. And here's the thing: if you go to an if you go to a school like this, at least back then, back in the 80s in Germany, which was part of the Department of Defense school system there for American children, and children of American service members and government employees. Um, if your grades were awesome, you could
Do
no one paid
anything.
attention to you if you skipped school. So I skipped school all the time.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and but no one really noticed. No one, or the ones who did notice just didn't care because I was acing their classes, so I was able to get away with it. And so I would skip school, go downtown Frankfurt, and I'd buy all the music rags, which at the time, they ended up being big, popular, glossy magazines,
I
over the
miss
years.
those.
Metal Hammer, Rock Hard, you know, magazines like that. But at the time, back then, they were like on newsprint. You know, they had
Wow.
color pages and black and white pages blended, but they were like on newsprint. And I'd go buy those, and they were in German, but I had, by that time I had been, several years in Germany, and I learned enough German to get by quite well. And so I would read about all these crazy bands that I had never heard of, before those magazines, or in some
Wow.
cases with tape traders. Um, I'd skip school and go. I knew where about 7 or 8 different really cool German record stores were in the Frankfurt area, and I would just get around to those and buy albums, buy a bunch of killer vinyl. And one
Wow.
of the worst things, I think that one of the worst things that I think my dad ever did to me in my life was when we finally moved from Germany. I had amassed a really killer vinyl collection of just
I
everything, man.
okay, I
I had
could
all the
feel it.
early, all the, pardon?
I could already feel it. You're good. Oh, you're gonna say you lost them all?
Well, I'll tell you if
Okay.
you want me to.
All right.
Um, uh, I
Oh,
just,
I'm sorry.
I had all the early Venom. I had all the early, Bathory, Hellhammer, Celtic Frost. I mean everything. Slayer, all even like bands very few people in the States have heard of, like Trance or Picture and Sortilege and bands like that, which were like German bands and French bands and Dutch, bands that never really made a big impact in the States, but were in the heavy metal scene over there, back then. And I just had this awesome collection. And as here's the thing: when you're over there, in the army, when the army brings your family over and gets you an apartment for 3 years to work, on an army base in Germany, they pay and handle all the shipping. Whatever you have, they ship it over there, including your car. And when you go to leave, they'll come pack all your stuff up, take it, your car, everything. And then you go to temporary quarters while you wait for your plane flight. And so it was not costing him a single penny to send my record collection back to the States. But he just arbitrarily, one day as we were getting ready, he just arbitrarily said to me, yeah, you're not taking that record collection back to the States. That's just too much stuff. You either need to sell it or give it away, or I'm going to take it and stick it out on the curb for the trash men to pick up. And I was just, what the,
Oh my
what?
God, what?
It was awful. It was awful. And I mentioned that to him recently, and he was like, I don't remember that. Of course you wouldn't, because it was a frivolous, spur of the moment decision that you enforced. Because once he made a decision like that, he enforced it with an iron hand. You could not talk him out of it. He had no reason for it. It wasn't so big that it
Right.
was like we were going to move to somewhere where there wasn't room to store it. There was always room for my record collection in my room, and I always had a room. So it really didn't matter to him. It was irrelevant to him. It wasn't going to cost him a penny. He wasn't going to have to pack it. He wasn't going to have to carry it.
Oh,
He
sorry.
was, but he just arbitrarily decided that I had to sell it or
I
throw
have
it
a
away, give
question
it away.
though.
So
Did
I
you
sold it.
sell it? Oh,
Yeah,
you
I sold.
sold them. I was
Well,
gonna
it
say,
was
did you
like
give
it
them
was either
away?
sell them or get nothing back on my investment, which when you sell a collection like that, I mean, these days I'd probably be able to get quite a bit of money for that collection if I still had it. But in the shape that I kept things. But no, I had to sell it.
And now,
And
and now
they were all still pretty new. They were all still within a few years of release, so you got pennies on the on the dollar, or as they
I,
would say in Germany at the time, Pfennings on the day mark.
yes, yes. And I recently lost hundreds and hundreds of albums myself, having to move from the States back to Canada and just not having them anymore. The smell of them being gone, just the physicality of being near them is gone. And it's like, ah. And then you go and you think, okay, so I'm gonna start. What is the first album I'm gonna buy? And then you go down and they're hundreds of dollars now. They're not like $5, $10 anymore. It's frustrating, the idea. I just don't think it's
Yeah,
ever going to be replaced, and I just have to let it go.
yeah,
But you
yeah.
know, I get to do wonderful things like this. I mean,
Mm.
it's a great trade
I,
for
I
me.
I don't know how wonderful it is talking to me today. Sitting in my car and
Always
screwing
wonderful
with my
talking to you.
crooked glasses, but
You know what? The whole time we're running out of time because we're capped at 40 minutes, but the whole time they were perfectly straight. But I fiddle with things too, so I know it. You did fine. I really appreciate the time that you gave me. And when you have some new stuff that you're working on and you want to chat again, please chat with me. And I appreciate your candor on your experiences, and hopefully that can help somebody. That's the goal.
well, let me ask you, Kelly, because you mentioned that you had a pituitary adenoma, but did you have another type of tumor as well?
Um, I say the word tumor because that is what people recognize, and I still think that it's basically the same thing. It's what people can wrap their head around, really. So,
Yeah.
using big long medical words when people don't understand what you're talking about,
Yeah, yeah.
it's
People always
confusing.
call what I had
Yeah.
a brain tumor, but it really technically was not a brain tumor. That doesn't mean it wasn't affecting my brain or yours or whatever.
Hmm, hmm.
I mean, I don't know about you, but mine got quite large before it was found,
Yes.
and it
For
was wrapped all around my carotid artery, so it was going to kill me. Even though technically, pituitary adenomas are what they call fully encapsulated benign tumors.
Benign tumors, yeah.
But
I have
people
benign
sometimes people who've
tumors
never.
everywhere.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. But see, but people who don't really know, they hear the word benign and then they just go, "Oh, well, you're
Oh,
okay
you're
then.
fine. Exactly. I get the wave.
Benign.
I get the wave, right?
Means
And
it's
you
good
want to
for
just
you."
cry. You just want to cry.
It's not
They're
hurting
in
you.
my
It's
love.
just
Yeah, no.
and like you're like, no, a benign tumor will kill you
just as
kill you.
easily. Yes, yes.
Yeah,
And I want to thank you for helping me make that clarification, because it is quite often misunderstood, and it is so frustrating when
yeah,
you don't have your disability on the, if your tumors were on the outside of your body, you know what I mean? People would be able to understand your pain, but really they don't. And
yeah,
that is
yeah.
a
And mine
blessing.
was wrapped all around the carotid artery. So I was, at the time that mine was found, they said I was within about 3 months of either being dead or basically a vegetable. So,
And I wanted to ask, how did it affect your playing? How long was it before?
oh, I mean, I had not played for a while at the time that it got found, simply because I had nothing left. I had lost everything because
Mhm,
the way the tumor hit me so slowly over time, and it just started squeezing off my brain, and my memory and my
mhm.
reasoning faculties were all screwed up. And so if that happens to you, and it doesn't get recognized as a medical problem for which there should be, a diagnosis and a course of treatment, then you will end up losing everything. And uh,
It's
that's what happened to me. I
kind
lost
of
everything.
kind of what I'm battling now. So I went through all this in the States, came back to Canada, have no doctor. It took 10 years. I'm getting my first MRI since going to the Mayo Clinic in 2017. My first MRI on the 17th. So they're
Wow.
going off records that are so old. They're going off records. It's just, this is what it's like here. You spend about 10 years trying to get scans and diagnosed, and then hopefully get treatment. They tell you you have something and say you have to wait 2, 4, 6 years for your first appointment with a specialist, because we are out of doctors here. It is insane. And I uh I can't wait to have this new scan done, to have them understand me, because when I go to the hospital, I have problems. They just are listening to me saying it and not really listening to me. So it's very, very frustrating. But I've gotten a lot of help recently in the last few months. I think everything's starting to come together. All my referrals are coming in, things are getting looked at, people are taking serious, like getting helpers and aides and all this stuff. But it shouldn't take a person 10 years, and
Yeah.
I think how many people pass away waiting or lose hope. I am a very strong-willed mother figure. So if I wasn't as strong-willed as I am, I would have given up or been lost to drugs or the streets a long time ago. And I think that that's where a lot of people are at, because of medical problems that just can't get
Yeah.
help. And
Yeah.
again, something else I do this work for, and I hope that it reaches a huge platform. And I know names like yours are going to help me do that one day. And I thank you for your patience and never giving up on me, brother. I can't lie, my legs are actually paralyzed right now because I'm so emotional. It's part of my condition. So I just want to say thank you, and hopefully goodbye for now, and have a good day.
Right on,
Maybe.
Kelly. Thank you. And
Thank you.
I do hope you are feeling better. It seems like you are a bit, and that's good. That's awesome. I'm glad we were able to do this today. And
Me too. And
all right.
give your kitty some cuddles for me. All right.
Yeah. Well, that's
Have,
on the daily.
all right. Have a good day, brother. Keep well.
All right, Kelly. You too. Bye bye.
Bye. Hey everybody, thanks so much for tuning into another great episode of ROCKn TOKen, talking with your host, me, Kelly V, the Potpixi. I hope you like, share, spread, and support as far as we can. Bye everybody. Have a great week.